This is the Art Marketing Minute with Eric Rhodes, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Make More Money Selling Your Art. In the Marketing Minute, we answer your questions to help your art career. Brought to you by artmarketing.com, the place to go to learn more about marketing. Now, here's your host, Art Magazine publisher, Eric Rhodes.
Thank you, Jim Kipping, and thank you for joining us today. I am here. My goal is to eliminate the idea of the starving artist. So let's get right to today's questions. Here's a question from Rachel Harris, who attended the recent Realism Live online conference, and her question is about commissions. She asked, what's the best way to find a market for commission work? By commissions, she means doing paintings that people commission you to do, right? That's what I think she means. Anyway, start with this idea. First off, people don't know the word commissions. It is not a term used by regular, everyday people. If they think commissions, they think like they're getting a sales commission on something. So don't confuse them. They don't know the term. The best way to present it is to look at people who are lookers. Let's say you're in a gallery environment or they come to your studio, they're looking around. You can drop a hint very subtly, say, by the way, if you don't find something you like, we also can do some custom paintings of your favorite subjects or your favorite people. You know, sometimes people ask me to paint a deceased aunt or uncle or a brother or a family member or their kids or their favorite vacation home. What you want to do is load their lips. You know, you could say things like, hey, have you ever been on a trip and you found like this place that totally inspired you? If you can get me a photograph of that, I'll create a beautiful big painting, any size you want for your home of that particular subject. Put the ideas in their head because they don't think of it themselves. And then put it everywhere. Put it on your newsletter, your website, in your ads. Ask me about creating custom paintings of your favorite subjects. Don't use the word commissions. Also, it's a good idea for your website. Do a story on it, like tug at their heartstrings a little bit. Jane's husband died. They were the happy couple. They lived together for 40 years. And Jane remembers when they first met and, Bob was 30 and she just loved him so much. And she found a photo of when he was 30. So she asked me to do a painting of it. So I did this painting of him when he was 30, and she just cherishes it. It's one of her favorite things. And so, you could talk about how that works and then do a little story for your website or for your newsletter, and that's a good thing. And remember, insider terms are things people don't understand. Don't use insider terms. Now, here's a question from Mike Freelander in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Hi, Mike. He says, because social media is so big these days, it seems like I don't need anything else. Do you agree? Well, I'm assuming Mike is saying, I'm not sure I need anything else for marketing. Well, that's a slippery slope, Mike. If you're using it and it's selling as much work as you want it to sell and it's working for you, no, you don't need anything else until it stops working. And the problem with that is there's a thing called a single point of failure. So a single point of failure, let's say that you are flying an airplane and it's a single engine airplane and that single engine goes dead while you're up at 10,000 feet. What are you going to do? Well, if you have a twin engine airplane, you still have another engine to back up for you. Well, the same is true in marketing, and this is a common problem. It's something that happens a lot, and that is that people have a single point of failure. They put all their money into a single marketing source, and suddenly, sometimes that single marketing source stops working, or it dries up, or there's regulation that changes everything. A friend of mine was in the infomercial business, and the law changed in one day. He went from having $1 billion business to having no business. And that's because he had a single point of failure. If he had other marketing things going on. So I like to think of it as the Parthenon. I've talked about this in the past. Think of the Parthenon. It has multiple columns. If you had the thing on the Parthenon, what do they call that thing? Focusing on a single column, and that got hit by a car, well, the rest of the building would come down, right? And so you want to have at least 3 columns because it'll make it more stable, but it's better to have 5 or 6 columns. You want to spread your money around a little bit, and it's not necessarily right to spread it inappropriately. For instance, you can spread too many places to advertise, and then you're not getting enough traction from what you're doing. And that's a whole nother topic. But the reality is social media can be good. Some artists are telling me they're selling some work from it. I don't hear very often that artists are selling all their work on it. You want to have a gallery, or you want to have a direct marketing line. You want to have your social media. You might want to have some advertising. You might want to have a lot of other things. Social media is great for getting leads, but it's not great for getting buyers. Now, there are, again, exceptions to that rule. And so what you want to do is say, okay, how do I generate leads? How do I create something that I get a lead from spending that money, and then those leads can be warmed up and turned into a customer over time? What I find with most of my artist friends, and most of the artists I deal with, and some that I've consulted with, that most of them have their social media following or other artists, and they really don't have a lot of known collectors, known art buyers on there. As a result, when they post something or when they advertise, it's not necessarily reaching the right people. So it's very tricky. And so most people misuse social media. I mean, social media is a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's very effective, and it's a good way to stay in touch with people and to put your work out there. It's also a good way to be misunderstood, because if you're putting out, a lot of people put out unfinished paintings. People don't read. They think it's finished, and they go, oh, why would he post that? It's not very good. So like all things, though, my marketing philosophy is stand in the river where the money is flowing. And wherever the money is flowing, you need to be there. And for me, the money is flowing where there are massive amounts of known buyers of art, people who are collectors of art, who are our kinds of collectors. That's why things like, my audiences at Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air, those are the river where the money is flowing. Those people buy paintings. They buy lots of paintings. We sell tons of paintings through ads from various collectors if people have effective ads. And yes, you can employ social media. I use social media. I spend a lot of money on social media, but I use it very specifically. I very rarely ever get buyers from social media. I get leads, and then I have to figure out how do I turn them into buyers. That's a whole nother complicated subject. It's something we can address on another day. But the bottom line is, anything that's working for you, keep putting money after it. And just know that everything dries up at some point. Sometimes it's your own fault because you're doing bad advertising or bad marketing, but you can change that. And so you want to constantly be monitoring what's happening. Well, this has been the Art Marketing Minute with me, Eric Rhodes. My goal in life is to eliminate the idea of the starving artist and to help your dreams actually come true. So if you want to submit questions, simply email eric@artmarketing.com. And to learn more about marketing ideas, you can visit artmarketing.com. Thanks for listening.